Hey, welcome back to the shop. We're still working on the drawer project on our kitchen makeover. So we've been working on the Isoloc drawer joint, specifically on the side panels of the tails. So I've cut quite a few parts. I'll show you a little bit out in a minute, but these are the prototypes. And so here you can see the joint. I don't know if you can see that well, but there you go. Front, sides. We got holes pre-drilled for my drawer slides. And I just used my other camera to get a close-up of the two types. Here on the left is the first cut, as just exactly as I programmed it, and you saw in the previous video on how to program Isoloc tails. These on the right, you can see in the video, are much cleaner. And the reason is I changed my programming technique, or I changed my cutting conditions. The cut conditions come down to what bit do you use, how fast do you go, how much material do you remove at a time. And I used the first setup just like I would use on a piece of melamine or on a piece of MDF. I use compression bits, works great, gives me nice clean edges. But as you'll see in the video, as you can see in the close-ups, they're fuzzy on these ones on the left. That's the compression bit. Where the upcut and the downcut converge, there was a fuzzy mess. A lot of little stringy parts that in this particular type of material, I would have to do a lot of hand sanding and fiddling. So I was able to put a joint together. So I went back and did some changing, and I'll show you that in the video on how to change that. I'll show you that. I'll also show you a trick on how I can just cut one part or cut a whole array. I can play around with the software. Aspire is brilliant software. The people at Vectric are just geniuses as far as I'm concerned. So I'll show you how I use their tools to be able to set up and cut just one, so I can look at these kind of cut conditions before I create a whole sheet. Once I'm happy with it, then I'll finish the whole sheet. We need to make about 40 of these side panels. So there's the intro. We'll get on with it. Now, you can't really see it. I have taken a close-up of this, but this material's been on my shelf a long time, and it's got a little bit of a crown in it here. And so what I'm going to do to fix that problem, because the vacuum won't hold it down, especially as I start cutting away sections like you can see here. This is that first column that I talked about in the video. It's already cut. I've already assembled the prototype. I've thrown away the ones I didn't like the edges. And we're going to go ahead and cut this entire sheet. But I'm only going to cut two right now, two right over here in the corner, like we just saw in the video as well. And then I'm going to set up and do the whole sheet. You don't have to sit and watch that. We'll just show you how we run the two, and you'll be able to see those down shear bits in action. That's just a little bit of insurance. So I know that I've got my column separated in 2-inch or 2-foot increments. So I've just laid out with the tape at 4 feet here, 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 foot, and I'm going to use a little brass screw. I'm going to use brass because if I miscalculate and I hit it, then it's not going to create a big problem. It's just going to shear away because the carbide will cut that. Okay, I've loaded the program that's just the second column and just 2 parts. And so without any further explanation, I'm going to step out of the way, hit the go button, and let the machine do its thing. We can watch it cut. Now the downside of that down shear gave me beautiful edges, gave me nice clean edges here. That little fuzz rubs off with my finger. I don't have to get sandpaper out. I'm going to grab something. So a little bit of wiggle, a little bit of pressure. Perfect joint. No pounding, no hammering, but it's absolutely tight, perfect. And it's got that beautiful little decorative touch. So the downside, as I was saying though, we leave a lot of sawdust down in the crack because the down shear bit pushes the dust down. So I'll do a little bit more cleanup, but I'd rather clean up the table than clean up all these little intricate edges to make a good joint, good fit. Okay, now I've loaded the balance, what I call the full sheet program, and it'll cut up the rest of this, and then I'll have all the materials I need to do the drawer project. There is one more step. I'm going to use the CNC to cut up all the bottom panels because it's going to have a rabbet around that will go inside. I'm going to make them out of 3/4 inch ply so there'd be a nice solid bottom panel because we're going to put heavy appliances and things in these drawers. I want them still to be there when my grandchildren move into the house. Anyway, let's get started.